legal.
I've been broken, I've been bruised, I've been lied to and been used. You can't take away my pride. All of my cards are sitting on the table. Yeah, I'm all in. And all of my chips are pushed in the middle. You can count me in. Someone told me once, someone told me. I've been broken, I've been bruised, I've been lied to and been used. You can't take away my pride.
My name is Richard. I was born here in Allentown. I saw a booming American economy when I was small, and growing up in Lehigh Valley, you had a lot of industry and stuff. In my 20s, 30s, you could go anywhere for a job. And over the years, we lost all that industry. Bethlehem Steel went away. Mack Trucks went away. My mom was in the garment industry. She made Botany 500 suits and stuff for Sears. That all went away. It all went across seas.
They are making expensive apartment buildings in Allentown. And I think what they're charging is way too much. What I think they should do is try to help the homeless people out there.
When I was little, a lot of people went to be plumbers, and all of my uncles and even my grandfather worked in factories. Now you see a lot more people going to college and getting these college degrees, so it almost makes you, if you go to college, you have to get an extended college degree and then another college degree, and then they want you to have experience. So it seems like you just are constantly having to do more to make less than you could back then. And I also think it's harder to buy a house, harder to get credit. I think everything's just a little bit more difficult now. My name is Rosa. I like people to see me as outgoing, not afraid to speak my mind, and voluptuous. I live with my mom and my daughter. We have a 3-bedroom house, attic, basement, nice yard. I like that it's 3 generations of us, so not one person has to focus on the bills. I graduated from Radnor High School right outside of Philadelphia. Then I went to Loyola University in New Orleans for a semester and a half. Mardi Gras kind of kicked my butt and I dropped out. I literally only had to pay $2,000 a semester for school because I had scholarships, but I didn't have any money for any of the extracurriculars, and I got to watch everybody else go out and do all these things.
Stack it up, then pack it up, pack it up.
So I maxed probably a $10,000 credit card out in 5 months. I left halfway through the semester, so I had to take the entire semester out in loans instead of my scholarship. They charged me $15,000 to leave. I was like, why didn't I just stay 2 months? Right now, I'm actually a senior at Wilmington University in Delaware, studying psychology. I have probably $50,000 in student loan debt.
My name is Raul, from Brooklyn, raised in Allentown. I'm very highly motivated and ambitious. I live with my mom, my little brother, and my stepdad. My side gig is I make high fashion apparel. I threw a fashion show at my old high school, William Allen. In a good week, I could bring $2,000 in a week off clothes. At the end of my high school career, I had big plans to go to Brown or just big prestigious schools. I wanted to be into political science at the time. But eventually I realized politics isn't it's not my game. You can influence more people through clothes in a way, because more people wait in line for like shoes, and they do like sometimes that for voting polls and stuff like that. I went to Lehigh Carbon Community College for 1 semester. I believe I have like student debt because of a loan I received. It was maybe like $3,000. They reach out to me every couple months, and they just tell me either to call them so that way I could like say that, like, give me a break on it, or to start just by paying $50 a month. And like I haven't been proactive on it because I honestly I believe like there will be a day where they just erase student debt, and I don't want to like look back and think, damn. All right.
I'm Jay. I'm a visual artist. Definitely specialize in painting specifically. I had just bought a home with my partner. We're in the west end of Allentown. We have a 2-bedroom. We also have a finished basement area as well as an extra unit upstairs that we will be turning into the Airbnb space, art gallery. The quiet is my favorite thing above all. My education stopped technically at 8th grade on the books. I had not very supportive parents. My mother was running around and using drugs and things like that. I went to middle school in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. I just remember there just always being fights, and kids were very unruly, and the teachers didn't really know how to get them to calm down. I remember having outspurts again because of things going on at home, and so I'd act out in school and I would get suspended all the time. It was like that was their go-to. It was like, well, you're being bad, we're not going to pay attention to you. I didn't even get my GED. I left school and that was it. And I went from school, and I started using drugs in school, kept it after. Pills, cocaine, alcohol was a gigantic one. After a while, I'd say around 19 years old is when I had done my first canvas painting, and that was it. That was it. I took off running and I started making money from it almost instantaneously, and it was like, oh my God, I can do this. I was 19 making a few hundred here and there, and I was just like, I can't believe this. Like, people love it that much.
My name is James. I'm an Asian American male. I was a Rubik's Cube national competitor. My fastest time in competition is 18 seconds, and my fastest time at home is 9.51. Right now, I'm a college student studying finance and industrial systems engineering. And I re-import bourbon from Japan to the United States and sell it on the private market. I work about 15 to 20 hours a week, and I make around $70,000 per year. I can buy a bottle of Blanton's Red and Blanton's Black in Japan together for around $60. Once I get them back to the States, I can sell those same bottles for around $400 shipped within an hour of posting them. Once in a while, I hire a few of my friends who are flying back from Japan. I could fit, 18 bottles of bourbon in a checked luggage bag, and occasionally one would break. But for the most part, you receive them at the airport, you take them and you thank them profusely, give them a couple $100, and then you have your bourbon. I don't like all the regulation, all the taxes, all the things with small businesses, especially with the liquor importing. Red tape, red tape, red tape. I hate it. I don't necessarily feel like the business that I'm currently in is a long-term business. It's an arbitrage opportunity, and over time, that will eventually close as other parties enter the market. In 5 years, I want to be working somewhere probably with a little bit more of a corporate hierarchy. where I've really enjoyed being my own boss and doing my own thing and forging my own path. But at the same time, I really think that if I want to go further in the business world in the future, I want to be able to learn from people that are more experienced than myself.
I attended a local school in a generic community, going through elementary, junior high, and senior high. I went on and did 3 years at college level. I certainly wasn't prepared for. My parents got a divorce while I was in college, and I could not seem to be able to focus on my studies completely, so I did not finish college. After college, I went on to work for a school district while I started raising my children. Then I got a medical license. I went on to work in long-term care. Because of the DWI, I lost my medical license. And my name is Wynn, and I'm an escort.
My name's Jason. Grew up in Ohio and Virginia Beach. Mom was in one and dad was in the other. And I've done a little bit of everything, had every kind of job possible. Newly married. Just got married a few weeks ago. I've got 2 daughters. They're awesome. My first job was helping my dad roofing. Probably at like 10. I spent most of my junior high and high school dreaming about getting out of school and going skateboarding. And then I graduated and I went to electrical apprentice trade school. Then I went to college for religious studies. I was a pastor for 4 years. I also did a thing called skate church for maybe 8 years where I did put up ramps and hung out with the kids. An associate's degree in religious studies doesn't help you when you go to get real jobs. I absolutely do regret not finishing my electrical schooling and becoming a journeyman electrician. That's a great paying job, and you can go anywhere there's a union hall, which is most of the country. I wish I had gone to something that my degree would result in a career, so I could have a career path and not 300 different careers.
Hi, my name is Chantel. I like to listen to music. I like to dance. I like to sing. I love my kids. I love taking care of my kids. I have 6 kids and 1 on the way. I have an apartment, 3-bedroom apartment. Boys in 1 room, girls in another room. Kids got their own TV, PlayStation, beds. And of course, me and my husband in our own room. I don't drive and I don't have a license yet. No car. I can drive, I just don't have a license. I never had a license, but I've driven. I take the bus or I walk. I attended Hickory High. I learned a lot. I did not graduate. I should have graduated. I know I didn't, but I could still go back and get my GED. I just was having kids at the moment and wasn't thinking and quit school. I liked it, my school. No regrets at all. I want to be a nurse, a registered nurse. So I want to go to school for that. Being a nurse was always my dream job. I want to start working again and start building my career and doing different things. I love to work. I love to move around and do things, not sit on my butt.
My name is Sammy from Allentown. I am a contractor. I do remodels. I use all recycled materials. This is actually my wife's house. Well, it's our house, but
we love living on the mountain. My great-grandparents built the house starting in 1940, and you've been fixing it up little by little, just like the way they built it.
Yeah. We love it up here. It's almost like you're in the woods in the city. But it's just me and my wife. It's about an acre. We own the woods in the back. I went to Council Rock High School. I probably graduated high school with a 7th grade education. I didn't know how to learn yet. I didn't know enough about myself or about the world. After high school, I went straight to the Outer Banks, North Carolina. Just wanted to party for a while. And I was a line cook, and it was horrible. You start your shift at 10. It was just chaos till the 10 o'clock at night closed. I did work construction there because I was only working during the week at the restaurant. I think it helped with my work ethic. It really gave me a sense of working hard and what that was like and how to earn a paycheck. From there, I went to college. I was like, I need to get an education. I went to Penn Tech for broadcast communications. I had a radio show. When I graduated, I got a job out in San Diego, working for a radio station out there. I learned a lot about the radio industry and how there's absolutely no money to be made. So I started working with a plumber. Started doing plumbing. It was a new trade. I've had my student loans for 15 years. My student loans are, I'm at like 30,000 still. Not the best at paying back my student loans. I actually just started paying more. Right now I pay $45 a month, I think. But I was paying 20. Pathetic, yes.
Oh yeah, Peter is a great husband.
My name is Peter. I'm from Bronx, New York. It's very interesting to see how Allentown has transformed. Now, Allentown seems like a mini New York. I grew up in a household of 6 people, and it was very full, very hectic, crazy, many, many times. A single mother that raised us all. I have 6 children in this house, and myself and my wife, so it's very full. I was in school, and my wife became pregnant, and I considered dropping out, which I did. I personally do not like the education system in general. I would much rather my children learn on how to file their own taxes. as to learn about what George Washington did. I wish children in general were taught to be more independent, to be responsible young men and women. Parents are sometimes just figuring things out themselves, so to put that pressure on parents, it gets very taxing. My only regret is that I wasn't confident enough when I was younger to pursue something that I was very passionate about, like filmmaking. Putting years into it, learning for me was going on YouTube and finding out how to light a subject, how to write. All these things that I learned off of YouTube that I could have learned years ago and probably been well off now and more established.
My name is Richard. I was born here in Allentown. Been in the Lehigh Valley area for 57 years. I'm on disability right now. Shattered my leg about 5 years ago. I fell off the ladder at work. The guy I was taking care of, we were playing Frisbee at the time, and the Frisbee went up on his roof, and I got the ladder and fell. So there went my career, sort of. I live with my partner, Richard. He's at work right now. He works 10 to 12 hours a day. We have a 3-bedroom house, 2.5 bathrooms. This is also a rehab project. It was a win-win for the community. First-time homebuyer project from Allentown. My education was okay. I didn't really apply myself in junior high or senior high. I mostly was a partier in high school and junior high. It wasn't until I was in my late 20s that I decided to buckle down, and then I went to Cedar Crest College and different things. I've done four-handed dentistry. I've got a lot of certifications. And in about 27, I got my CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant. I worked all over the place. For 27 years, a lot of nursing homes. I worked over at Cedarbrook, a lot of nursing homes. Oh, I did all kinds of things, feeding people, bathing people, taking people for walks. Sometimes you're just their sounding board. It's very hard work being a nursing assistant. You're their psychiatrist, you're their cook, you're their housekeeper, you're their personal hygienist. Okay. When I first started, it was like $8 an hour, but I got up to 15. 15 seemed like the max in that. And I was doing that until I broke my leg 5 years ago.
My name is Michelle. I'm from Allentown. Right now I live, me and my fiance. I have 6 grandkids, 3 sons. My youngest is in boot camp in National Guards. My oldest son going to school to be a real estate agent. And my middle son, just as my middle son. My oldest son's getting married in 2 weeks. I myself am getting married 2 weeks after him. I went to Northern Lehigh School District. I graduated. I went to Lehigh County Tech School. I learned food service there. Did different things there, but food service was the main one I stuck with. No, I have no regrets about my education. I like my education.
My name is Frank. I'm from New York, Brooklyn. I came to Allentown because my cousin moved out here first, so it's a lot cheaper. Cheaper than New York, obviously. I'm off the grid currently. I am not on social media. I don't have energy for that. I don't have time for that. You know, I only have so much time, and you know, you only have 24 hours in a day. In school, I was a little wild, so I'm a gym and lunch guy. Gym and lunch, two easiest subjects. I graduated high school, but in college I did a semester and I dropped out, community college. So, it's just the people. I wasn't really, I wasn't putting my nose down in my studies. I wasn't really, taking the time to really, do the studies and whatnot. I have a little bit of student debt, like $5,000. It's funny because I didn't really use anything I learned in school. I want to go back to college and study communications. That's the plan. Eventually, I plan to go back, when finances are right.
My name's Vince. I was born and raised in Allentown, Pennsylvania. I live with my fiance. I went to William Allen High School. I played football for him. I loved going to school. I worked probably about 37.5 hours a week at the Commons. I cook hamburgers, fries, clams, and wings. I love going to work every day. Work makes me feel very good to go every day.
I've been broken, I've been bruised, I've been lied to and been used. You can't take away my pride.
My first job, I've been working since I was 16. My first job was at McDonald's. Then I did some warehousing after that. Flipped around in my 20s and 30s between warehousing and cooking, short order cook.
I started working when I was 15, delivering newspapers. I worked at Ross as a cash teller. I had also worked at Giant, Starbucks, and a bookstore inside of Lehigh University as cashier. I loved that job. The one summer I was working in kind of like a boys' home, helping rip up carpet. I worked all summer, tirelessly. At the end of it, I remember only getting a $78 paycheck. I'm not kidding, yeah. So I was completely taken advantage of as a teenager. I went home and I cried because I had thought I was gonna get so much more. I eventually took that money and put it towards my first tattoo.
My first job was at Rita's at 14, cashier, customer service. I left McDonald's, Thorny Park. I left there and worked at my first ever warehouse and realized the world gets real. I was in shipping and receiving, but I was getting paid $15 an hour. From then on, it was just a series of warehouses from the age I was 17 to 20. Godiva chocolates. On my first day, we were working in a freezer, touching dry ice, working with these weird machines, laser pointer things. And yeah, on our first break, I left. Yeah, I just quit, yeah. And eventually, they got back at me because we were told it was a $16 an hour job, but the agency says when you leave, they bring it down to $7.25. So yeah, I only worked 4 hours, so I think it was $28 or something I got, yeah.
My first job, I was 16, I believe. Still in school, I worked at a factory called Paris Neckwear. I was doing that a couple hours after school. After that, I want to say it was McDonald's. I believe I worked at McDonald's for a little bit, and then I got into dietary department at Cedarbrook, actually, and then from there I ended up getting my certified nurse's aide. After that, I got into the hotel business, cleaning rooms. Now I've worked my way up to supervisor.
My first job, I worked in Dorney Park. It was very boring. I do not like amusement parks because I'm terrified of heights. I worked in the slaughterhouse. My job in the slaughterhouse was to cut cow butt. It was the most miserable job. My next job, I worked as an employee in Papa John's. I would make pizzas, wash dishes. I was very unhappy, mainly because my wife was my supervisor.
Because he was the man of the house, it was very hard for him. Felt more like home than it was work.
After that, I started working warehouse jobs.
We've worked at FedEx together. We've worked at PowRam. As long as we were together, we were just unstoppable wherever we went.
My first job was the worst job in the world. I milked cows. I had to pull the nipples before you hook up the suckers. It was the only place that hired people that were 13 and gave us $10 an hour cash. Was a ton of money. And my dad was so stoked I had a job. I couldn't quit. I hated it. And I delivered a calf once too. It was super disgusting when I did it, but when I look back on it, I'm like, that was awesome.
My first job was at a hotel, cleaning rooms. My second job was McDonald's. I was a cook. Third job, Burger King. I was a cook. When I was working at FedEx, I made $15 an hour. Sorting boxes, stocking the trucks, and receiving. 5 to 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. I was always hurting because my pregnancies, they overworked us. The worst job I ever had was McDonald's. They didn't pay me enough and they were always cutting my hours, and I needed more money for my children and for me to have a place.
My first job was really at age 18 because I worked at a bodega, stacking shelves, stock boy. And then when I moved to PA, I was doing the call center. People called in and whatnot for products, and I would just try to help them out the best of my abilities, rectify any situations or problems. It was all right. I mean, it was a job. It was a means to an end. It's just to get where I needed to be, It wasn't a career. I was at the call center for about 2 years. I worked at a sandwich place. I worked at security. People come in, they go through the metal detector, they bring in weapons in, just regular protocol, whatnot. My other jobs were warehouse. That's really all I could think of. I was working part-time, just babysitting and whatnot, walking dogs, but anything I could do to get a little bit of cash, I'm the guy, My ideal job is to travel the world and just meet different walks of life. I'm passionate about music, a little bit of acting, a little bit of everything. Just a little, anything that make a buck.
My first job was at a grocery store called Acme when I was 15. I actually used to walk 3 miles to work, and I'd bag groceries. Then I worked for Five Guys. I worked at a Starbucks. I sold cars before. I was actually top sales agent. Every month I was there. They loved me. The guys loved to come in and ask for Rosa. The girls, if they came in with their guys, they didn't like me. They were like, no, let's go somewhere else. But I sold probably 2 or 3 times more to guys than I did to the women. If I were selling cars, I would make way more money than I make right now. Selling cars is like selling your soul. You sell a car that's worth $8,000 for $35,000, and that's where you make your money. One of my customers bought a car, came back after somebody totaled her car on the side of the road, and said her insurance company said they spent $15,000 too much on this car. She bought another car from me though. I just didn't want to keep ripping people off. People who lease get the best deals. People who buy used cars, you never know what's gonna happen with that car.
My first job was at 14. I worked for a company called Pitt, planting in the gardens and stuff like that. At age 18, I started working in a restaurant, cooking ribs, collard greens, macaroni and cheese. I did little dishes there, I did a little prepping there. I did a little cashiering there. So I did that for almost 17 years before they went out of business. I collected a little bit of unemployment. Middleburg College I worked at as cooking there. Then after that was over with, I went to Moravian College. I got transferred from there to Middleburg Hospital, cooking for the patients there.
I worked for a little bit with my mom at a greenhouse. I've worked at Wendy's. I worked at a rotisserie chicken place in the mall. Worked for an engineering company, welding. I sold gold and silver for portfolios. We advertised on Fox and sold physical gold and silver for commodities, which was fun because some months you'd make a lot of money doing it and some months were horrible. So I would also drive for Lyft. I was a Lyft driver on nights, on the weekends, on the months that were slow. I was doing construction for a while. I spent a year working on a $15 million house out on Long Island.
I got my first job mowing lawns at age 13. Then I worked at a local park in food service at age 16, and I did that for 2 years. After college, I went on to work for a school district. I was a painter for 10 years.
My first official job was working at GNC, where I was first a sales associate, then I became an assistant manager. It had all the monotony of retail for sure. My manager was really weird. One of the first things that he ever told me was, if I ever have an attack from PTSD and start having flashbacks, you have to go into my bag and take out this pill in my backpack and place it under my tongue and sit me down in the corner as I recover. And I'm 16, 17, I'm like, I get paid $7.25.
I'm constantly worried about my health. I smoke. I drink alcohol. I have very high blood pressure.
I feel healthy when I eat healthy and drink healthy. I love to drink a lot of soda, and I love a lot of sweets. It's not good for me, but
I worry about my health, my weight, my knee, but otherwise, I mean, I may be chunky, but I am active.
I don't worry about my health. I feel healthy.
I worry about my health a little bit. I think I have high blood pressure. But my mom's side is super healthy. My grandma will never die. She's 1,000,000 years old and is just as feisty as she always has been.
I don't worry about my health because I leave it in God's hands.
I do feel healthy, and that is a big part of the weight loss and a larger part due to the mental health medication that I'm taking. So going from the one extreme of drug use and drug abuse and low income and all types of abuse and this and that to a bright area that's quiet. I'm still getting acclimated to it, but it's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, I feel it. I typically don't worry about my health because worrying about it only adds stress to your body and stuff.
I don't feel healthy. I very much worry about my health. I don't eat meat. I'm a pescatarian. I don't drink milk. or eat cheese.
As I'm getting older, I'm worrying about my health. Definitely, I'm trying to incorporate a better lifestyle, not only for myself, but my children.
No, I don't feel healthy. If I were truly 100% concerned about my health, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
My health is pretty good. The insurance I have now, it's mediocre, it's okay. There's no such thing as affordable health care in America. You're nickel and diming us to death. It's awful. A couple weeks ago, one doctor put me on an enzyme for my pancreas, and it was $2,300 for that prescription. So I told the doctor, and then he gave me a discount card, brought it down $1,000. So it was still $1,300. I told the lady, I can't afford $1,300. No, I didn't buy it. I left it.
I do like my healthcare, yeah. Honestly, I never had a bad experience. Currently unemployed, but I'm saying usually I have a job. Usually I'm employed and I'm working. 2 weeks ago, I was working at Target. I was a cashier. I left for, personal reasons. I got my healthcare through my employer. Well, it's gonna stop eventually, but,
I hate my health insurance. I signed my custody over to my mom so that my daughter can have good health insurance through my mother. I enrolled through, I guess everybody calls it Obamacare, but I chose a healthcare that no one takes. And I have to call 12 or 13 different places to figure out who takes my insurance, and then there's a wait list, and oh my gosh, I hate my health insurance. Over the summer, I needed a skin cream prior authorization through this new insurance that I just got. It took them 2 or 3 months to get it approved. And then when I complained about the doctor because they lost my health records, she told me I couldn't come back to the practice I've been at since I was 9.
I like my health insurance. My health insurance pays for, if I want to get a massage, they pay for that. If I want acupuncture, they'll pay for that. But the one thing actually is, they don't pay for my therapist. The therapist that I really love and has really helped me a whole lot doesn't take insurance. Last year, I probably paid around $6,000 out of pocket for my healthcare expenses, including my therapist. I get around $2,000 back, so total around $4,000 out of pocket.
I love my health insurance. My wife's a school teacher, so I have excellent health insurance. My worst experience with the healthcare system is not having health insurance. During those 5 or 10 years I didn't have health insurance, and you have to go to the emergency room and you get a gauze and it costs $500 or something crazy that you're literally there for an hour and it's a $9,000 bill. And I don't feel like that's fair at all. Before, when I didn't have the insurance, they told me it was $180,000 a year to get the shot that I needed. And now it's $5. So I'm like, well, that doesn't seem fair, but that's crazy.
It's Medicare, so Medicaid, I believe, is for older.
Medicaid, healthcare for low-income Americans. Medicare, healthcare for seniors, mostly.
Oh, well then I have Medicaid, my bad. I always switch those. Honestly, yeah, the health insurance thing can be pretty rough. I used to be larger than I am now, and I had lost a significant amount of weight since then through going vegan. My health insurance has definitely been a gigantic struggle, mainly due to them not covering vital things that I need. Going into these mental health offices in lower income areas, for me it can be triggering. I grew up extremely poor, and going back into these areas knowing this is all I can afford, the rooms are dirtier and the doctors don't care nearly as much. And then I go to this nice office and I'm treated so well and the care is so great and all of these things, and I know my insurance would never cover this. I could never get this kind of service otherwise unless I paid out of pocket.
Insurance, it's Medicaid, it pays for everything. I can go almost anywhere Probably at the most $100. That's it for healthcare.
Only thing I get from the government that helps me pay for my medical. I love my health insurance because now they're paying for everything. I get through the state. I have paid no money for health care. If I call and make an appointment, it's usually on time and I can go to my doctor and he would take care of it for me.
So yeah, when I was roofing, I fell 25 feet, landed on my chest on the ground because the house I was on top of collapsed. Roof was framed incorrectly, not by me. As I was falling, I got hit by a bundle of shingles behind the ear. And I remember as I was falling, I was thinking, I wonder what's gonna happen next. And I hit the ground and I was like, everything seems to work. I stood up. I was limping a little bit because I landed with my leg out to the side a little bit, so it kind of like, an ambulance was called. Not by me, I didn't really need it because they wanted me to go to the hospital. And I was like, I didn't have insurance at the time. I had no health insurance. I just couldn't afford it. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to the hospital. I just limped for 2-3 months. For a very long time, I had no health care. It would have cost me like $700 a month or something ridiculous, and I just don't have that kind of money. If I had insurance, I probably would have gone to the hospital.
I like my health insurance. I went to the state and got health insurance, like the welfare and stuff. Everything's fully covered, you know, my doctor's appointments, and just pay a $20 copay. I paid, I say I would say probably maybe $150 out of pocket for healthcare insurance for the whole year. Yeah, still not too bad.
I like my health insurance because of the big family I live in. They do provide a good health insurance where I get to pay little to nothing.
I like my health insurance. I like Medicaid. They pay for everything that I need to be done for me and my children. I don't pay anything for health care. I don't worry about my health.
I don't even have health insurance, so that's square one there. I typically don't go to doctors and too much. Like the only thing I really need the health insurance is for like the dentist. But besides that, yeah, I don't make appointments and all that.
My income from last year solely from art sales was probably around $24,000. And then with the Airbnb art gallery thing, that'll also be something. My biggest asset would definitely be my house. The house was $270,000. My second biggest asset, probably my artwork. My artwork is honestly priceless. I have debts from my parents, about 12 grand. My parents used my name and ran like bills for like cable and stuff like that. Over the past maybe 6-ish years, I've been able to get that 12 grand down to 500. I'm like just above 500. It's rough. I didn't really know about it until after it happened, and they were just like, here, these things were in your name. Well, because they would run the bills up with their own name, and then when that left, they would use my sister's name, and then after that, they used my name, my brother. My mother I have zero contact with, and my father passed.
I get about $200 a week from unemployment, and then on top of that, I do this escorting service. And I make about $70,000 a year. I have a calibration thing for my car to make sure that I'm not driving with alcohol in my body. If I eat something that has yeast on it, like sourdough bread or a slice of pizza, and I go out to start my car, the calibration unit in my car will think that I'm under the influence of alcohol. And it will not allow my car to start. And I can't make the extra money that I need to make through my escort service. You're talking about my assets, biggest solace is my children. Of my financial assets? I have a car that's worth about $2,000, and then I have about $4,000 in cash set aside. I do not have any credit card now. I do not know how much credit card debt I have. I would assume that it's over $70,000. I have medical bills from 3 years ago. My medical debt might be $2,000. I might get some sort of letter that sounds inflammatory. I throw it in the trash. There are other goals in life that are more important than just giving my hard-earned money to corporations that are using me. No other debt that I know of.
My annual income is anywhere, I'd say, between $35,000 and $60,000. I get paid so many different ways from different places, whether it's songwriting, interviews, modeling. I do a lot of plus-size modeling. I actually own my own publishing company. I write music and help people copyright, trademark. I'd say my assets altogether are probably worth less than $20,000. My bank account, my car. I have over $85,000 worth of debt from student loans, from healthcare when I was younger, didn't have my own healthcare plan, so I just ran around going to the emergency room. Credit cards, it's terrible.
Currently, I work maybe 30 hours a week. I deliver pizza at a place in Bethlehem, but I don't want to work there for more than 3 more months. Honestly, still not tight enough to know how much I make a year, but I'd say approximately $20,000 a year, maybe. Yeah, right now, honestly, my biggest asset is myself. Besides that, all my clothes and stuff, if I tighten up and sell them all, I could probably have 10 racks.
10 racks. $10,000 in cash.
10 racks. I try not to live with debt. The debts I have currently are $3,000 in school debt, and then $500 in phone debt. When I first got the phone, I didn't pay it all off. I put $65 down, and I got to leave with the phone. And then I paid for 3 or 4 months, and then stopped paying. And then eventually, I reached out to Verizon, and they said that they sent it to the collection agency. And after that, I never thought about it again. Basically, I'm redlined at things. The asset I would like to acquire most would be land or property.
Our annual income is probably between the both of us $50,000. That's on the high end, I'm going to say. My income is, right now I'm on disability, so it's low. $750 a month I get. I cannot be a nurse's aide no more. I can't go for 8 hours on my leg. 4 hours without my limit, and then my leg is painful. 16 screws in my leg, okay? Really. My biggest worries about money are that I won't have enough money for food, for gas during the week, and I won't have enough money for co-pays, to get medications and stuff. That's a big worry.
I really have very few assets. I don't like to keep a lot of things. I move around a lot, so I don't really own a lot. But I have bourbon worth maybe around $7,000. I have camera equipment, it's maybe around $5,000. And I have gardening equipment, it's a few $1,000s. Oh, and clothes. I have clothes. I have designer clothes, should I say that? Norse Projects, Canada Goose, Tom Brown, $6,000 of designer clothes. My only debt that I have is the lease payment on my car. I think I still have around $6,000 due. The house is the biggest asset that I want to acquire. I mean, I think now even with people that I know who have graduated, who are making really good money, they're still renting their places, and I think that that's something I don't want to be doing in my future, so I'm really hoping that I can purchase property relatively soon.
My husband's working full-time. He makes $17 an hour. I don't have any assets. I don't have any debts at all. Each month we save a little bit. I spend sometimes money on out to eat food when I don't need it. I would like to go to Burger King. In 5 years, I would want my income to be more than $10,000. Yes, I do. I expect my income to be more than $10,000 in 5 years. I don't worry about money. I am happy.
I have a little bit of student debt, like $5,000. I have no other debts. I have a car, I have gold. I have like $20,000 worth of gold. I started collecting gold when I was like around I would say 17, 18. I have some of it in a safety deposit box. I have some of it in my apartment. You know, people, they look at a chain, they're like, oh, that's shiny. No, you know, the price of your jewelers, you know, your jewelers are drug dealer. Gold's weighed by grams. You go in there, that they're gonna try to, you know, it's gold is a hustle. Gold's worth more than money. I mean, gold's a big passion of mine.
Right now I work at St. Luke's Hospital in Bethlehem. I live in Allentown, but it's right down the street. My job is a nighttime maintenance technician. On a short week, I work 40 hours a week. Some weeks 70 or more. I'll do side work when I have it. Painting, framing, carpentry, kind of whatever somebody needs. Right now, I make between $50,000 and $65,000 a year between the hospital and side work, things like that. If I finish electrical school, my income would probably be in the neighborhood of $75,000 to $100,000, I would say, relatively safely, maybe more, with overtime and things like that. If I only am able to work my 40-hour-a-week job, I can't pay all my bills. My biggest asset, I used to own a house. Now my ex owns a house. I rent. I have an old vehicle. I don't have much in the way of savings. Usually a few $100s. I want to acquire more Bitcoin and probably a newer truck. I don't have much credit card debt. I've been trying to clear my credit up to get that back up. My income now in Allentown is half what it was when I was in New York as a carpenter there. I have a retirement plan to die. When I die, that's when I won't have to work anymore. So yeah, I think that's probably how that'll play out.
I like my job. I like my job. I'm a supervisor at Hilton Garden Inn. My work, usually I would say 35 to 40 hours a week, full-time, 5 days a week. I make $15 an hour. I think it averages out to 30-some thousand a year then, I believe. I'm a supervisor, so I go in, I get their assignments ready, the girls' assignments ready for the day. I inspect rooms. I also clean rooms, you know, if they're shorthanded. I do laundry. I like to keep busy, so I like work. You know I'm sick when I'm not at work. It's a good place to work, but we can't get people. They come to work, they're here a day and they don't want to work. So I always say we can't keep people, we got to pay more. My biggest asset, I would say, is my car. Do I have any other assets? No. I really don't have any debt. I mean, everything gets paid on time. Like, I'm never totally washed out, so I usually save a little bit. I try to pay my credit card every month, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. What asset do I most want to acquire? A house. It would be the number one thing, a house. If I had more income, I would spend it on traveling, just going different places. I would love to go to Hawaii. Love to go to Hawaii. That's one of my bucket lists, go to Hawaii.
I work 60 hours a week as a truck driver. Specifically for Amazon trailers, 53-footers. I work a day and 13 hours. Within that time frame, I have a 10-hour reset where I rest. So I sleep in my truck. I make anywhere upward from $30,000 to $60,000. That's the average. I like working because I love to provide for my family. I love being a staple to my family. I have way more assets now than I did in the past. I had nothing. I grew up with nothing, and it was like that for a while. I have plenty of credit card debt that I've been responsibly taken care of on a month-to-month basis. The assets I want to acquire going forward is, again, real estate. If I can have several apartment buildings and my own home, that would be awesome.
I work 40 hours a week at my construction job, and I make about $40,000 a year, and then maybe another $20,000 on just side gigs. I'm constantly selling stuff on the side. If I see a piece of furniture on the side of the road, I pick it up and I refurbish it, and sell it on like a marketplace or Craigslist or whatnot. Our goal is to keep stuff out of dumpsters. My wife's income is $2,200 every 2 weeks. She's winning. I want to work to live, not live to work, but it just doesn't work out that way. One thing I don't like about my job is like the beating I put on my body. We just jackhammered out an entire pool and all the concrete around it. I'm not 20 anymore, I'm getting older, I'm 40. I've been doing this since I was 16. And yeah, I really don't like the toll it's taken. My house is our biggest asset. I think we got it for $125 and it's worth maybe $3 something now. We probably owe another $3 grand. We're almost actually paid off on the house. My truck is maybe worth 10, 15 bucks. I have plexiglass on the back. It's garbage. Credit cards, yes. I'd say I'm about $15,000 in credit card debt. My student loans are $30,000 still. My wife, she likes the finer things. Well, I go to the store, I get the imitation peanut butter. She wants Jiffy. And I'm like, you know, we're just not in the Jiffy world yet. And she just wants to be Jiffying it up. You know, I work an extra hour each day and we have the Jiffy.
My annual household income probably close to maybe $35,000 to $40,000 a year. I had all the loans. It's over $7,000. No, I do not have no credit cards debt. No student loans. Every month I probably come up above it sometimes, maybe $2 to $3 extra $100. And I have not got my tax return in the last 3 years because of paying child support, being behind my child support. At this point in time, we all could use a little bit extra money in government aid. The help I might need is more money. Maybe if I can make $20 an hour, it'll help me out a lot.
Dumpster fires are fairly common, yeah. I've been to as many as 5 or 6 on the same weekend. Recent years, it hasn't been as common, but that just could be because people are doing different things over the weekends now. I don't know. Unfortunately, a dumpster fire really is not too high of a priority when it's not near a building.
I think my biggest professional regret is not starting to make music while I was younger. I didn't give myself that chance because I wasn't very confident, and it really took me to leave an abusive marriage and go to school and be around other confident women to be like, oh, I'm good at this. Let's see how to do it.
When I was 16, I was going to school, playing around with my sister's friend, and I had shattered my ankle. That ruined my dream of going into the service.
My biggest regrets professionally is not applying myself when I was younger. And I should have went to college. I should have listened to my parents. Could have went into the military. I could have done a lot.
I wish that I would have went to college after high school, that I would have furthered my education after I graduated. RN nurse, so something along those lines. That was always.
I wish I probably focused more on school and was kinder to some of the people around me at that time before I had kind of grown emotionally enough to understand the things that people had done for me.
My biggest regret in life in general would probably be not getting sober earlier, but at the same time, you're ready when you're ready. I was really young when I was introduced to things, and so this was like a lifelong thing. 11 to, around 30. I signed myself into a rehab, full-time rehab, and the quality of care was the worst I'd ever had. It was almost abusive. It was just treated like animals. A lot of the people that I was in rehab with were, ex-convicts, people straight from jail, people straight from mental institutions. It was just like this island of misfit toys. It was like everyone was just discarded. And here I was, probably one of the only people who signed myself in, who took that step rather than being forced there. And those who were forced being there, it showed. We would have group sessions and they would be loud and throwing shit around. I mean, it was really rough. And after less than a week, I was like, I'm going to sign myself out. I can't do it. This is not what I thought I was going to get. I didn't receive any actual counseling, nothing. All they did was just give me medication that made me sleep. And even though I remember it, it felt like a fever dream.
Biggest regrets professionally would be not creating a simple path of a career for myself. When you're in one set career path, it's easier to continue to get another job in that career path.
Lack of confidence professionally, that held me back in many ways, because if you don't feel like you have the support or the confidence that you have in working hard, and you'll stay stagnant.
I got some trouble years ago. I was selling drugs, got caught up doing, illegal things, and spent some time in jail. Can't go back. 15 months upstate Cambridge Springs. It's in Erie, PA. The only thing with that, it was too far from here. I didn't get visits because that's a 7-hour drive. Lehigh County Prison is I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It's who wants to be locked up in a cell, half the day. And when I went upstate, when they sent me upstate, that would, if I had my choice, just if I ever get in trouble again in life, just send me upstate. It's way more better and it's more lenient and you have more things to do. It's a nicer facility, food's good, and you get more variety upstate. Ice cream, soda, all that. Like, you can't get all that in the county. They have like a big yard, you go out, they have a bingo, they do different things. They have crafts, and they have, it's just, and you're not like in a cell, you're like it's like more like your dorm room. It's more like a college dorm is what it is. Just the perimeters with all wire fence, it can't. But yeah, it's like, to me, like, it's like a college dorm.
There's a lot of homeless people, and I don't mean just people on the street, like living in a tent. There's people living in motels, there's people living in subsidized housing, shelters. I've dealt with homelessness since I was 18, trying to find a foundation, not knowing what credit is, messing your credit up young, not being able to buy a house, having to pay $3,000 rent when you could pay an $1,100 mortgage.
I see unstable people and homeless people at times. I have compassion on them, but I don't know if I want to be dealing with it on a daily basis.
When I lived in New York, I slept in my job site for a month. My boss didn't know. Technically, sleeping where I worked meant I was homeless for a month. I would sleep in the theater, which didn't have running water yet, except one sink. So to use the toilet, you had to dump a bucket of water in the toilet to force it to flush. Every day after work, I would take the subway to my gym, which was in Queens, and I would work out and shower and then take the subway back and sleep at work. But the nice thing was I got to work super early as the first person because I woke up there.
I had been through that. Be homeless for like maybe 2 years. When I got homeless, I was 26. I was homeless until I was 28. And it's not pretty out there. You need all the help you can get. I mean, you got to beg for money and beg for food and this and that, and it's not happy, You see people overdosing. You see people doing these drugs, that doing K2, and they do dope. And I didn't want to see that out of myself, so I figured go out there and get me a job and do what I got to do and support myself. I was working at the time I was homeless, but I was doing drugs too, so. Well, at that time I was working for any temp jobs. Warehouse work I did, distribution centers and stuff like that. My co-workers who I worked for did not know I was homeless. I was probably working 40 hours a week, but at that time when I got a paycheck, it went to drugs, because that was, my drug of choice was crack cocaine. And I went into rehab and got help. And I went to a program for 28 days, and it helped me out a lot. It's been all grace after that. Now they got a little better about that, because people from churches and stuff comes downtown and give people food and stuff like that. But when I was going, like maybe at 17, 18, 19, they wasn't doing none of that. But now they do in the last 6 years. They should try to help the homeless people see They can live in an apartment sometimes for free for so many days, and then tell them, we help you, now you gotta go out there and help yourself, try to get yourself a job. Because there's plenty of jobs out there. You just gotta look for it.
I think the American economy,
Think about the American economy. It's not terrible. I mean, it is what it is for what we were dealt.
It takes money to make money. I think that's the American way. If you don't have money, it's real hard.
A man used to be able to go out and work, his wife could stay home, his kids could go to school, and he could buy a small house, have a car, and pay for his kids' education. Apparently that's not the case anymore.
The American economy is more in debt than I am.
Our economy is set up to see people who are already winning win, and people who are already losing lose more.
A lot of people are trying to become disillusioned. I do think it could crash or something bad could happen, and it might transfer over to like crypto or one of those type markets.
The corporations are huge and they're doing well, but I don't really know how well the regular American is doing.
It's rough right now. I still see people struggling, making minimum wage, feeling like they're not treated the right way. And then the opposing end, you have people who make a lot of money who get all of these tax deductions and all of these things that allow them to stay on top.
Pays need to be higher. We could do with less taxation. Okay, maybe do away with some taxes.
The economy right now is all messed up. We just need a lot more help.
It's a tricky thing. If you're not already set in a career path, like me, I find I just end up looking for whatever job I can find.
They can help us out a lot more. I think they should be raising up minimum wage.
I think poor people and middle class people have to just work so hard to like barely have anything, whereas we have this group of people in our country that have so much money, they don't even know what to do with it. They're buying $45,000 handbags, and that could pay off half of my debt. Like, so I think it's a very messed up system we have going on here, where like the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, and the middle class is dissolving.
I do not think the American economy is fair. The rich seem to get richer and the poor just seem to get poorer.
I don't like that the rich continue to get richer and the poor continue to get poor. It's really hard to be in the middle. You either got it or you don't, and it's I don't want to say it's not fair, but it's not right.
I feel like it's more about the money than the people. It's about consumerism instead about making the world a better place than we found it.
You got that 1-2% that are just killing it, but at the same time, we're still better than any other country. No matter how bad things get, it's 10 times better than 90% of the world.
What I like about the economy, it will help you if you need it.
If you're in America, like if you want to work or invent something or do whatever, it can happen and you can go get it, like for real.
If someone gave me $10 million,
If someone gave me $10 million,
If somebody gave me $10 million, I'd be dead in a week.
Wow, what would I do with $10 million? I don't know that I can even fathom that, to be honest.
First of all, it would scare the shit out of me.
I would buy an island, move there with my daughter and my mom, farm, have horses, and only leave when I get on my private jet.
I would move to Hawaii. I would buy a tiny house and I would move to Hawaii, someplace secluded.
Yes, I would probably quit my job. Relax, travel, go places, just relax, enjoy life.
I'd probably let my parents retire, pay off the house for them, and I would leave school, I would leave my job, and I would go figure out what I wanted to do with my life. With my girlfriend.
I would first pay off probably both of my parents' houses. I would put in my 2 weeks notice. I would finish up whatever side work I had left. I would travel, maybe 6 weeks in Europe with my wife. I would start a business, and then I would probably get a newer truck.
I'd get a warehouse, use it for like making clothes during the day, and then at night I'd host like parties and raves and just things to make the city exciting for the youth. I'd move to a nicer part of Allentown for the family, but yeah, I wouldn't really like move. I'd just be more travel friendly. My day probably wouldn't change. I'll just do a lot nicer things, but they wouldn't be like related to money. Like it'll just be on some, I could go look at a mountain from the top of the mountain that the helicopter just brought me in.
I would still make music, I would still do what I do, still work as hard as I worked because I just love, music is a passion that I turned into a business. I also want to be able to own rental properties that I can sublet to people who are creators for a super low price, just so that the bills can get paid.
If somebody gave me $10 million, I would invest in real estate, preferably apartment buildings, so that way I can make passive income and hopefully be financially free and leave a legacy behind for my children.
I would get a place and get my children a whole bunch of things that they need. More clothes, some more shoes, and then get myself a car and take care of myself.
I would donate 95% of it.
My heart right away says figure out how to like give a lot of it away because it's overwhelming.
The key to being rich is not having to worry about bills.
I would try to help homeless people out or invest in stocks and stuff like that. And then hopefully open my own business. I'll try to see what I can do, help my fiance out, take her out to eat, give her what she wants, buy her things, whatever she picks, I'll buy it for her. So. I live with my fiance.
Right now I live, me and my fiance.
And this is Michelle, my wife-to-be.
We met at the bus terminal at ATC.
I started talking to her first. I said, I'd like to get to know you.
Oh, we just started talking, and we met the next, like a couple days later, and we just went and grabbed some lunch, talked or whatever.
The rest was history.
Yeah.
We've been together almost 4 years. What our dreams are, we've been talking about getting a house, buy a house.
Yeah.
They say your credit got to be good and stuff like that, so we got to work on our credit to get a house. And everything else will come into play.
Mrs. Curvey is a plus-size beauty pageant for women between sizes 12 and 18. I am Miss Curvey, Pennsylvania. It's Ms. because I'm not married. I would be crowned on June 26th as Mrs. Curvey, US of A, and then I would go compete in China for Mrs. Curvey Globe. I'm super excited to win. I know I'm going to win. I have all my dresses ready. Mrs. Curvey, Washington State is now Mrs. Curvey, US of A. I did not make it to the final round. I was top 3, so I was the 3rd runner-up. Hello. But things are going well. I wrote the music in this documentary. I've been broken, I've been bruised, I've been lied to and been used. You can't take away my pride, no. All of my cards are sitting on the table. I didn't wear my time.